sometimes you're actually injured and sometimes an injury looming. And so you say, right, let's stop the injury there. Let's take some time off. India's going through a wonderful phase with fast bowlers. It was a good opportunity to throw Deepak Chahar in, but he's injured now. Then Shardul Thakur, Navdeep Saini as well. But there's been discussions between Saurav Ganguly and Rahul Dravid about the role of the NCA, largely because Bhuvneshwar Kumar took a long time to heal, Wriddhiman Saha took a long time to heal, Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya preferred to train on their own. But Saurav Ganguly has said eventually we will have to go back to the NCA. And my gut feel is between Ganguly and Dravid, and they understand Indian cricket as well as anybody else, their heart beats for Indian cricket, they've got to make an NCA a place where you want to go.
Absolutely. See, there are two parts to this. One is that the NCA will remain the authority. The Indian physio and the NCA will remain the authority for saying, is this guy fit or not? That final test has to be done by somebody. It can't be somebody who has a conflict of interest like this person's personal physio. So let's leave that aside. You are going to be the final testing authority always. For junior players and all who can't afford a physio, who don't have their own physio, who are not sure of the game, NCA remains a port of call. So what are we left with? We are left with the players like the Bumrahs of this world, the Manish Pandey's of this world, particularly let's go to fast bowlers because they and keepers are the ones who tend to break down the most, and say these guys now have a situation where a lot of money is riding on their fitness. Okay, so they have their personal physios, and their personal physios and trainers probably know their bodies better. So my question is, do you tell a Bumrah, no, this is the guy, this is my way or the highway? Because he'll turn around and say, this guy knows my body, he knows my body better than anyone else for the last 6 months. Okay, he knows me best. I have known a lot of cases of this. I mean, I remember even Zach, Ashish Nehra, during the IPL in those days also, they'd call up somebody like an Andrew Lepus and just say, because Andrew knew their bodies well, say, Andrew, something's happening, should I do this, should I do that? Because that's what happens. You get, somebody knows your body well. Now so I'm not sure that saying that the NCA can be the last judge saying that, okay, are you fit or you unfit? But having the NCA as everyone has to go to the NCA and that's the only way. Does it make sense?
Was there a fear that I may not be able to train the way I want to or recover the way I want to at the NCA? I'd much rather do it in a home environment where I'm with people that I know and at my own leisure. Was that your reading of what happened with Bumrah?
I think, look, you have to look at the overall scenario and situation. I think, for me personally, I've always believed that NCA has been the great kind of a setup, for Indian cricket. It was founded a couple of decades back, right? It was founded in 2000, and look at the contribution of NCA overall in Indian cricket. So the methods, the protocols which have been set by NCA, and in terms of getting everyone on the same page. So if you look at the pre-NCA setup and post-NCA setup, there are a lot of positives which have happened in Indian cricket. Now there is a situation and scenario where a certain players or have raised the red flag saying that, okay, they are not happy or anything of that sort. You have to address that issue in that manner. So end of the day, when you are injured, it's something which is an individual call. You can say that always has to be there. The individual preference always has to be set, but also the protocols needs to be set in terms of NCA being the final authority. And when I'm saying that protocol, those follow-ups, that monitoring can happen through NCA. But when it comes to an individual who wants to train with a particular trainer, there is no harm.
That's pretty cool, right? Yeah.
I think because every case is different, every injury is different. So you have to deal with, you cannot set a uniform rule for all the injuries is what I feel. I think it's about understanding each case and then lining up that process of recovery or the program which can follow. Because some injuries take 2 weeks, some injuries can take as long as a year. So that's something which you can't have a uniform protocol for that. But I think what is important is that cricket is number one game, and it's a number one game should get those kind of help around it and that kind of support system. So if any injury, you have to find the number one guy in terms of dealing with that injury is what my feeling is. So for that, if it means that a player has to travel abroad, then so be it. If someone has to come to India, then so be it. But I think in terms of the approach, you have to have the best kind of person dealing with that particular scenario. And since there are so many specialists in all the areas,
Why not? Correct.
I think there should be many people involved with NCA, and those kind of protocols, those kind of guidelines should be set so that
Luckily-
these kind of issues are not surfaced.
Luckily for India, budgets haven't always been a problem. And to be fair, and this is something that's not pointed out often enough, the BCCI has not been tight-fisted with the recovery of its players, right? I mean, as you said, where is the best treatment available? And India's players have managed to get the best treatment wherever it's available.